Hey y'all, I know the channel's been really slow lately, but trust me, I got a good one for you today. I'm going to be showing my brand new demo board for y'all today. Tonight, rather, as you can see, it is past 11 o'clock. I've been wanting to have an E3 for quite a while, and we did a system replacement in a middle school that I'm not going to name because we had to upsize to add voice to it. They reused the screen from the old panel, which I'm very sorry, by the way, because it's one of the old classic E3 ones. It's not the NGA, it's the one that's not the touch screen. And they reused the DACs, but that's okay. I wasn't going to use that. However, the main board was so old, I was not able to use it with this because all the parts that I bought are fairly new, including this screen, which I actually won this for $15, so that was awesome. My plan originally was to use this NGA, but unfortunately the touch part of the screen does not work, does not respond to input, so I was not able to use that, very sadly. I bought two of these, by the way, and neither one worked. So, yeah, don't take chances like that. Anyway, on from that. Opening up the door doesn't really reveal a whole lot more than what you would see through the plexiglass. But you can see system's normal. I've got the channel name up there. Very cool, I know. And then I've got these three buttons programmed because, as I'm sure most of you know, these screens are pretty unresponsive at times. And I also programmed the lamp test, which you saw at the very beginning. Here's the ASM16, the addressable switch module with 16 switches, 48 lights, and these are the functions that I have programmed into this thing. So we'll be showing all of those later. Inside the cabinet here, you will see all of the hardware that we have installed. This first part up here is called a PM9. This is the power supply, which provides 9 amps of power for everything that you could need inside this cabinet, and maybe even beyond the enclosure if you had like an INX transponder cabinet or something. Like if I were to use this for that purpose, you know, if I were to put a microphone or a handset in here, you know, I could absolutely use this power supply to power that, although it's kind of frowned upon to do that. You can see I've already got this on here, but that's just so I can plug things in for future, just so I can bench test stuff. As you can see, the battery is jumpered out. You can do that. It will not fry it, but make absolutely certain you do not do it backwards, or you will send 50 volts into this thing and you will fry literally everything in here. Trust me, it's not worth it. Check your connections. Better yet, don't do it while it's powered. In the back here is the main board. As you can see, you got SLC1, SLC2, and then we have the relay dry contacts back there. And then there is the RS-232 port. That's where you plug in your laptop to update the program, update firmware, do whatever it is you need to do. And on this side, these are your NACs. This is where power comes in from the PM9 to power it. And then this is for running external power to annunciators. You've got RB and AB, which is aux power. RB is resettable power. There's an earth ground connection. And then RS-485, A and B. And then you also have your municipal circuit, which is for releasing applications. You can see we have some ribbon cables on here as well, and I'll explain what each of these is. So right here, plugged into J2, we have the local ArcNet channel. This is the one that you're supposed to use for going out. So if we follow that, you can see it comes down, and then it goes up here into J5 of the VGX. And then from here, you can see I have another ribbon plugged into this, and this goes to the ASM16. You can connect the ASM16 with the ribbon, or you can use a 4-conductor right here. You can use either one, but do not use both. And this would plug into here. And make sure you look up what the wiring connections are supposed to be before you power this up. There's another ribbon back here. If we follow that, you will see that it goes to the screen right here. And this screen is addressable. You can have up to 15 of these on one main board, which is kind of nice. The thing that I like about these main boards over the S3 is the fact that it comes with 2 SLC loops no matter what, whereas on the S3 main board, you'd have to get a second personality module if you wanted to use the second loop. But a plus side to the S3 is that it has 4 NACs instead of 2. So that's definitely something to keep in mind whenever you are shopping for a fire alarm system and you're going with Gamewell. On top of the main board, this is the voice gateway, also known as the Gamewell INI VGX. This is the controller for the voice communication system. We're going to go over what everything on here does, except for these 3. We've gone over these. The ArcNet repeater, this is what you would use to connect either to the ArcNet repeater on the main board, or you could use this to connect to an NGA if you were to put an NGA on your system. You would use J2 here if you were going to connect it to another node on the system. If you were going to add another main board or an S board or even another VGX or even a VGC to the system, that's what you would use to go out. And you cannot reverse these. You can't put from J2 to J2 because it will not work. This right here is your ArcNet comm channels. This is your 2 network channels. So just like right here, you got space for fiber module 1 and 2. You can do single mode or multi-mode on these. And you cannot do fiber and copper on the same card. You can only do one or the other. So if you're doing fiber, this is essentially useless. And if you're using copper, then there's no need to have anything here. So right here, this bottom terminal is a ground. The bottom 2 above the very bottom one is going to be your channel 1, and then your top is going to be your channel 2. And as you can see, I have earth ground turned off on this. It's actually supposed to be on if you are using your INX to supervise the PM9. But in my case, if I do that, ground fault will come up even though there is no ground fault. So for the purposes of my system, I'm going to just turn that off. And then you can see that trouble light will go away. Ground fault will go away. So yeah, this is the address switch. Right here you can see it is backwards and upside down. So you can see this is node 2, so this switch is actually down. And 8, the rest of them are up. 7 is down. Whereas on the main board here, you can see this thing is mounted upside down, but this right here would be dip switch number 1. And you can see that is up. So that one is actually right side up, and this one is upside down and backwards. So that's something to keep in mind when you're adjusting these things. This right here is where you would run power to if you were powering this from the PM9. Like if you had this in a transponder cabinet with no main board, this is where you would put power into the card. But since we're powering it from the main board, we actually do not need to run power from the PM9. But I have seen people do it. I've even seen a repeater be put on top of a main board to network to the VGX. And I was just like, are you kidding me? You don't need to do that. So yeah, this is where power would come in. And if you were using telephone modules, you would run power, external power out of this to those modules. Right here, we have the local speaker connection. And then we also have an SLC on this as well. And that is very interesting, but it is only for telephone modules and output modules. So that would be control modules, or even these modules that are called multiplex modules, which actually take 2 inputs and it only outputs 1 at a time. The part numbers for the modules that can go on this SLC are AOM-TELF, AOM-2SF, and then AOM-MUX. And then the local speaker is what you would use to go to your bulk amplifiers with the Act 1 cards that plug into those, if you know what I'm talking about, for the big AA100 and AA120 amplifiers. This right here is for the firefighter phone. If you were to use one, as you can see, we don't have one, and we have to use this jumper to close the supervision line. Otherwise, if you take it off, you will get a trouble that says CC phone, which means command center phone, which would be the red phone that would be sitting in the cabinet if you had one. And then this right here is another SLC for those modules. Let's follow this ribbon cable down. You can see we've got a ferrite clamp, which is actually from a company called Ferrite. So that's pretty cool. And you can see it plugs into this right here. And this is the amplifier for the speakers. This is called a Gamewell AM5070. And you can connect up to 4 of these to one VGX. Each of these AM50s will have 2 speaker NACs. As you can see here, we have the other one resistored off, but we're using this one for this speaker, and the end-of-line resistor is on the speaker. Note, if you are using an AM25, an AM5025, the end-of-line resistor value is actually different. So this one, the 70 volt one, it takes a 20K resistor, but the 25 volt one actually takes a 4.7. So that is something to keep in mind whenever you are working with these. And as you can see, this is also getting power from the PM9 because it requires it. And you can see I'm using shielded wire for the speaker. And the negative of this right here, as you can see, this is another positive and negative. And you're supposed to connect the shield to this terminal right above where the positive comes in from the PM9, not with the negative. A good rule of thumb, whenever you're doing speakers and tying it into the panel, if there's not a dedicated spot for the shield to go, put it in the same terminal as the negative wire. Right here is the back of the ASM16. Here's the little board buzzer. You also have a jumper right here, so you could have the buzzer silent or have it go whenever you press a button. Right here is the dip switches for setting the address of this thing. You can have up to 16 of these on a main board, or you can have 6 of them on a VG. So anyway, that's the inside of the panel. So now here's the part that y'all have probably all been waiting for. We are going to go ahead and show how everything works. So first, we are going to play our test message before we do any sort of testing. So the way we do that on here is you are supposed to press page, and then you select what you want to play.
May I have your attention, please? We are conducting a test of the fire alarm mass notification systems. This is only a test. You will be notified when the testing is complete. Do not evacuate the building. May I have your attention, please?
Let that go a few minutes.
We are conducting a test. You will be...
Alright, so we can turn that off. And we're going to go ahead and send the system into alarm now.
Attention, please. The signal tone you have just heard indicated a report of an emergency in this building. If your floor evacuation signal sounds after this message, proceed to the nearest fire exit and leave the building.
That message only plays one time just because it's supposed to be like a positive alarm sequence, so that just to prevent false alarms, you know. Anyway, let's go ahead and reset that. Reset. And as you can see, yes, it really does take a full minute to reset. And this thing also does a lamp test. Alrighty, so now the system is back to normal, and I am going to show you the smoke. Now this is going to do something cool. At least I think it's pretty cool. As you can see, it goes into a verification where it resets the detector, and then if it activates again, then the system goes into alarm. Now if I pull the pull station, nothing is really going to happen.
Please, the signal
But
tone
now,
you have just heard
you can see
a report of an emergency in this building.
this is showing alarm
If
now.
your floor evacuation signal sounds after this message, proceed to the nearest fire exit and leave the building.
And now here we go.
May I have your attention, please? A fire-related emergency has been reported on the property. Please remain calm and exit the building using the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators.
So as you can see right there, if you activate two devices, no matter what they are, you know, if one is set to verification and then another is activated, it's going to show both of them as alarms. So as you can see, we've got first alarm, and then we have alarm. And as you can see, silence lit back up, so
Attention, please.
it plays
The
that
signal
message
tone
again.
you have just heard indicated a report of an emergency in this building.
Alrighty, so I am back now, and I am going to show the drill function. I have actually cammed a message to go whenever I do the fire drill. And this is...
Your attention, please. The fire alarm in this building has been activated. Cease operations immediately. Proceed to the nearest fire exit and leave the building. Do not use elevators. Your attention, please. The fire alarm in this building has been activated. Cease operations immediately. Proceed to the nearest fire exit and...
And that's the message that my company has been using for like the past 16 years. It's pretty crazy, but oddly enough, that's my favorite one, so that's the one I like to use. And you'll notice it's a different message than the pull station or the smoke. So I've just hit the pull station again, and now I'm going to activate the smoke again. And I put in a different message, so it's...
Your attention, please. A fire has been reported in the building. Please proceed to the nearest exit and leave the building. Do not use the elevator. Proceed to the nearest exit and leave the building.
Anyway, go ahead and turn that off just because it's getting a little bit late at night. But yeah, so whenever something is activated first, even if a device is set to verification, it will still immediately go into alarm, like I said. So Strobe still go for a little bit after. Another click. And there it goes. Sadly, with the ASM16 on the VG, you can really only do momentary bypasses. They won't latch even through reset. If you put it on the main board, you can, but well, it's a pain with those ones, because then you have to put each one into a scratch pad, and you only have so many of those. But I have my NAC disarm, which is just NAC 1, which is the strobe NAC. And then this is something that I will show at a later time. It'll be for incorporating a weather radio into the thing. And I'm also going to get an amplifier so that I can hook the weather radio up to the auxiliary input right here, because that needs a 70 volt input, and I do not have that, unfortunately. But this right here will disable NAC 2, and it also disables a supervisory switch, which is a mini mod that I have behind here. Taking this off, you can see it's just an audio jack with a mini mod and resistors in there. And basically all this does is you would just plug your external alert jack into this, and then whenever your weather radio goes off, it will short that and send the signal to the panel. And then I also have it set to pass the aux input out to the speaker. So I've got this bypass turned off now. As soon as it goes back to normal, it will show that it is normal with the green light. And as you can see, we are back to normal. So now we're going to demonstrate some of the other messages that we have and the speaker disarm. So right here, the speaker is now disarmed. So if I hit this, you can see nothing happens. The only thing about this is it does not throw a treble onto the panel. I've not been able to figure out how to get it to do that. And that's probably why it would be better in most cases to combine the speaker bypass with the strobe, just to do like an AV bypass altogether. But yeah.
Attention, please.
Anyway,
The signal tone.
we're going to not do that right now. Anyway, the lights have come back up, so now we can do the rest of this stuff. So right here, the way I've designed this program is whenever you press one of these without pressing page first, it's just going to show that. It's going to do that, and it's not going to play the desired message. Now you have to remember which one it is that you pressed. So like if you press all of those and then like you're trying to figure out which one it was that you pressed, you're going to have a fun time trying to figure it out. So yeah. Right there, what happened there was I didn't program this right, so you won't know if it's pressed or not, but it's kind of funny. It makes the screen drop out for a second. So, like I said, the way you're supposed to do this is you press page first, and then you can do one of these. The radio broadcast would be just like, you know, overriding this, like if there's a special weather statement or something that you want, you know, people to hear about, you just do that with the weather radio on, and then you'd be patching that broadcast through, which would be kind of cool. And then we have an all clear message.
Your attention, please. The building emergency condition has been cleared. You may return to your normal activities.
Right there. And then there's a weather message.
The National Weather Service has issued a severe weather alert for this area. Stay tuned to NOAA weather radio, commercial radio, and television outlets, or internet sources for the latest severe weather information.
And then this last one down here is a fire emergency. This would be like worst case scenario. You want to evacuate the entire building. A fire condition has been confirmed, and you absolutely need everybody out of the building.
Attention, your attention please. The fire alarm in the building has been activated. Cease operations immediately. Proceed to the nearest exit and leave the building. Do not use the elevator.
And I like doing the different voice for the worst case scenario because it's a voice that the general public in the building would not be used to, so it would be kind of offsetting for them. So that would be creating a sense of urgency for them to really get out of the building. But anyway, that is the system. Like I said, I do want to incorporate a weather radio into this, just like I did my last demo system. That will happen at some point. I just need to find something that can amplify the small external audio output to 70 volts, because those devices are generally very expensive. And for just a demo system, I don't really think it would be that worth it. I'm going to see what my options are as far as that. But yeah, so anyway, that's the system.